Hello, this is Parker Brisebois, Parker Thomas Brisebois, first of his name, and you are watching the Iridescent, the second one. This is the second time we're doing this. We're here in Bonita, where it is warm. It's very warm. It's 86 degrees, about 50% humidity, and that counts as warm for me because I'm from the West Coast, and I'm spoiled, and have only ever had moderate temperature my entire life. And, yep. That's where I get my right to bitch. So joining our Picasso, our bargain bin knockoff Picasso painting back there, we have some propaganda. My favorite piece is the blank space back there. That cardboard colored nothing. The rest you can make of what you will, but that's what we believe in back here. It's negative space surrounded by political messaging. What's in between all the noise, find your own message. If you zoom in, you can see some tacks, and that's symbolic of, who we are, who I am, who we aspire to be. A tack in a vast negative space in between a bunch of confusing advertisements, messaging, scary images, things that make us think about how small we are and how futile, whatever. Anyways. What's going on in the world today? Coronavirus. Surprise! Not going to talk about that, though, because that's depressing. But it is important, so keep wearing your masks. Be responsible. Act like everybody you walk past is an older relative that you somewhat like and doesn't have an upsetting racist worldview. Yeah. That way we won't all die.
Now your fucking nuts
it is
stuck
hot.
to your thigh.
It is hot. My nuts aren't currently stuck to my thigh, but they were that way earlier today, and that was upsetting.
You oiled them up?
I oiled them up. I hit them with the baby powder because Shaquille O'Neal told me to on a Gold Bond commercial. It works like a charm, but I don't think I'm ever going to be a center in the NBA as prodigious as Shaquille O'Neal was. I had a follow-up from something I said last time, but I don't remember what it was. Oh yeah, Washington Redskins. 9 out of 10 Native Americans aren't bothered by the team name. And I can't believe this wasn't the first thing out of my mouth, because this is just normally how I think. But take the polls with a grain of salt. If there was a group interested in what people would think about renaming an NFL team, i.e. the NFL, the organization itself, their poll is likely going to skew some kind of way to favor the defense of their position, which is not to change the name. So the poll said 9 out of 10 Native Americans don't give a shit. The kind of class analysis I gave is probably still valid to some extent, but also keep in mind that whoever commissioned those polls has a lot of agency over how that information is presented. It's just something to keep in mind with all polls you see come out. People like to throw them around like there's some super weighty statistic that sheds all the light you need on any given issue. But polls can be misleading, and even when they're not completely misleading, even when they're pretty much self-explanatory, right on the money, they're a snapshot in time. And a snapshot in time can only tell you so much, especially if the question, even if it's a yes or no, is broad or vague. For example, one I keep seeing is, well, I've seen anyway, I don't know about keep seeing, but at one point within the last couple weeks, I saw poll numbers and they were getting touted by a lot of people on my social media echo chamber, a lot of people I agree with politically. It was a Happy Days, Happy News poll that said 87% of Americans don't approve of the direction that the country's headed in. And that's always bookended by a conversation about Trump. So people implicitly think that that question is an evaluation of the job Trump's doing. But if you look at the question itself, do you think the country's headed in the right direction? 87% of people said, yeah, I think Trump's fucking it up. That's not what it was asking. It was just asking, do you approve, do you disapprove? So think about if you're just walking down the street of any given neighborhood. I mean, think about the demographics of the neighborhood. If you're walking through a largely minority populated neighborhood, Barrio Logan, for example, and you ask somebody on the street there, do you approve of the way the country's going? And they say, hell no. They're one of those 87%, and it might be because of, I don't know, federal government's, Trump administration's failure to respond to the coronavirus in ways that help communities of color handle it and not get absolutely steamrolled by it, because they're the ones who are disproportionately being affected by it. They could not be stoked about kids being in cages, which they still are. You know, that would sort of track for that community. But then, and so they said they don't approve. They're part of that 87% I'm talking about. Then you go to Orange County, somewhere a lot of white rich people, wine moms and shit. And you ask somebody walking their fucking Bichon Frise, their little bitch poodle dog, you know, with their nice sun hat and designer fucking Lulus or something. Caronville. That's what I'm talking. I'm talking about Caronville, USA. You and I have never been there, probably, but you could picture it. It's where they get all the videos from. Those are farm-raised Karens. Anyway, so you go to Caronville and you ask one of Karen's husbands. Karens aren't lesbian. They're super heteronormative. Lesbians make Karens uncomfortable. Anyways, so you ask a Mr. Karen, in a place like that, do you approve of this country? And Mr. Ken happens to be wearing a MAGA hat. And he says, hell no, I don't approve of how it's going. He, too, is a part of that 87% we were talking about. But I guarantee you it's not because he's upset about kids in cages or the federal government's abject failure to provide an adequate response to help lower socioeconomic income or people in harder situations deal with the pandemic. He's upset because the fucking, I don't know, deep state cabal is facilitating child cannibalism or some insane shit. So anyways, that's my point. Polls can be a little misleading until you dig into them. So, yeah. Anyways, we got a headline now. Shoot. Mysterious off-screen associate.
Do you have any idea what July 9th was a couple of days ago?
Do I have any idea what July 9th was? It was a historical thing?
Apparently, it was National Kitten Day.
July 9th was National Kitten Day. You know, every fucking day is a day. Every fucking day is a day. What is today? Today's July 11th. It's probably a day.
Here's a video of a paralyzed kitten trying to walk.
Ooh, I get to watch a video of a paralyzed kitten trying to walk. Oh, it's by the dodo. Yeah, the dodo is always good for some fucking sugar water to mainline. Oh, his big eyes. Oh. Man, doesn't that just warm your heart and make you feel like we're living in a world where we can adequately have a fucking kitten festival and everybody can just get together and love on kittens? Everyone gets a kitten on Kitten Day. Bullshit.
Apparently today is National Video Game Day.
Today's National Video Game Day. Now, I can get behind that. But that's just my brand of opiate for the masses that I appreciate. Video game, great way to escape, just like a kitten fetish is, you know? And even a non-sexual kitten fetish. When's Porn Day? We're talking about escapism. No? There's no National Porn Day? I'm sure there is.
So how do you feel about video games?
How do I feel about video games? I love video games.
What video games do you like?
I said the other day that I'm in a Madden league with a bunch of my friends. But the thing I like about video games is they're just always there, you know? And it's basically the most advanced form of recreational leisure we've invented for a certain demographic. I mean, they're easy. Everyone plays video games. I was having this conversation with my dad earlier, or half of a conversation. He was talking shit because he saw some of us playing Skyrim or something, and he said, you know, this is about as much of a waste of time as when I used to play pinball in the 70s when I was a teenager. And we kind of looked at him and we said, yeah, it is. But time you enjoy wasting really isn't time wasted. It's how to get by. It's a means of passing the time in a way that's not going to harm anybody else. You're not taking advantage of anybody. Hopefully you're not shirking responsibilities when you're doing it, but that's just to say there's a responsible way to play video games, and that is to play them when you have time and when you feel like it. It's good for your emotional health.
There's a show on Hulu, second season just dropped, and the show is called Pen 15.
There's a show called Pen 15 on Hulu.
And it's about, it's 7th grade is back in session.
Fuck, is it animated?
No.
Damn. That sounds like a real waste of time. Talk about video games wasting your time. You guys remember the Pen 15, the Pen Island thing? You know? Oh, dude, join our club. I'm Pen 13. My homie over here is Pen 14. And you can be Pen 15. And then they get you to write penis on yourself. It's brilliant. It's mind-blowing. I mean, that's just absolute gold right there. They should just give up and let and divert their resources to helping Big Mouth. The next season of Big Mouth come out faster. Big Mouth by Nick Kroll. That's the only adolescent. I don't even know if you could call it a teeny bopper. It's a raunchy cartoon, but that's the only show about middle schoolers that, with tangentially has anything to do with something like Pen 15 that I would ever give a shit about watching. I highly recommend it. It's very funny. It's kind of raunchy, but it's insightful. It's modern. You know, you look at the complicated circumstance of young people, grappling with their own identity and puberty and all that gross stuff in a hilarious animated way. They can experiment with a lot of stuff. There's elements of magical realism in it too, which is I appreciate because I'm a nerd. I'm an English major, by the way. A lot of these first couple episodes, I'm going to be telling you a little bit about myself. But that's my defining trait as I went to college and studied a language I already know. And that's why I don't have a job. Well, part of it anyway. The other part is I don't like working. But who does? You know, I truly think that work is just a means to an end. We sell our time to do some shit we'd rather not be doing, so we can do shit we want to do in the time that's left over.
A beluga whale was sighted off San Diego coast.
There was a beluga whale sighted off the coast of San Diego. That is weird. That's really weird. It can't be because they like the weather. Those are cold creatures. Yeah, that's especially interesting because you hear about a lot of marine life migrating northward, away from the insane heat of this part of the world now. But, man, you know, climate change is, it's fucking everybody's patterns up, man. Except for us, we just haven't noticed it yet, but that's my privilege. I'm sure if I was living in the Seychelles, or one of those sinking nations, I would say something different. Or if I was that beluga. He'd probably be very offended if you asked him how the fucking weather was down there. Belugas are brilliant. I remember there was something about some Norwegian fisherman. This might have been a year ago. They found a beluga with a GoPro on it, something like that, or like a walkie-talkie. It was a Russian spy beluga, they think. Go figure. We train dolphins and seals. I think it's seals here in the good old US of A. They train belugas. I think it'd be cooler if they trained bears. Polar bears, specifically. Panzerbjorn, you know, like in the Golden Compass, His Dark Materials. Didn't really like that story. It was fucking confusing, and the movie was really bad, and so is the Amazon Prime show. But Panzerbjorn's a pretty cool concept. Polar bear with plate armor. That's metal as fuck. I'm hard-pressed to think of anything more metal than that. Maybe like a pit bull bear, like a bear turned into like the pit bull edition of a polar bear.
Here's one. Dump your partner if they won't have sex with you on your period, says expert.
Dump your partner if they won't have sex with you on your period. Well, I've always been very upset with my partners when they don't have sex with me when I'm on my period, so I have to agree. Just kidding. Generally speaking, I don't know. That's sort of a weird, just blanket statement. I mean, without getting into too much personal experience, that's got to be just a preference. Some people are probably really bothered by that, or the aftermath or the cleanup, but I feel like during, you don't really notice that much. I don't know. Unless you just take way different angles than I've ever taken. And I've only had sex like 4 times, so I don't really have that much information to go off. But who's that expert? Some sex doctor? Internet expert. Yeah, everyone's a fucking internet expert. I'm an internet expert now. I'm gonna email that source and say that here at the Iridescent we agree with that statement. If you can't have period sex with a person, you shouldn't have normal sex with a person. That's fucking outlandish. That's fucking outlandish. And it's like, what? You're making demands of people. Is that... Oh, I'm going to get called out for... I'm going to get canceled, but... That's insisting, presumably in a heterosexual relationship, that's insisting that a man have sex when he doesn't want to, when that's exactly what we're trying to get men to stop doing to women, which is insist that they have sex with. I am not a rape apologist, but I think that's just a scummy headline. That's a shitty stance. But whatever. Maybe if it's just superlative rhetoric along the lines of female empowerment, especially when it comes to agency within the relationship, which is very important, then I'm on board. The rhetoric of activism is always a little over the top, but that's the point. Because, well, anyways. Go ahead.
Do you like gambling?
Do I like gambling? Yes.
Are you a gambler?
Am I a gambler? No. I don't know. I think it's fun, but I'm not good at it. Or, well, it's not that I'm not good at it. I guess I've never been to Vegas. So, but I like playing poker. I'm pretty good at poker. Or, I mean, I'm good at poker with other people who are about my skill at poker, which is to say, very average poker players.
Dangerous heat to sweep through San Diego County.
Yeah, I'm feeling that dangerous heat in my balls. I'm feeling it fucking all over me, dude. I like every inch of clothing on me is clinging to my body right now. Just fucking sweat been dripping down my ass crack since I woke up this morning. Yeah, dude, that's across all of the southern states, I think, too. We're on the coast here, and we're bitching about mid 80s, but a few miles east here, they're probably up into the high 90s, 100 degrees something. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble on about everything I rambled on about today. Join us again here next time we do this, and be sure to smash that like and subscribe button. I'm trying to get famous. I'm trying to get rich by you watching me talk about bullshit. Thank you very much. This is Parker Thomas Brisebois, first of his name, signing out.